got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes.
Hi, welcome to In the Middle and Out of the Box, episode 19. Today's episode is going to be all about hurricanes and tornadoes and a very, very important episode. Even for the most seasoned Floridian, this year we have a lot of new information that's really important. So I hope you'll watch. Just real quick, I wanted to go over a few updates before we get into the episode. I also have some great science today, an upside down iceberg, which is fascinating. And I have a art video that is probably one of the most interesting and artistic things I've ever seen. So very, very interesting. So I do want to start off with just a couple updates. I had put on Delray Matters about the updates from Brightline, which are that there is an April ribbon cutting ceremony. They're shooting for around a June-ish opening. They will be starting to sell tickets very shortly, though, for that opening when it happens. And it's coming. It's coming soon. They're anticipating, again, they're not really giving a specific price, but it should be somewhere under $150 for the trip. And so that's all the information we have right now. Again, as we get it, we'll update you. So let's get into today's episode. It's very, very important. So first, we're going to start off with tornadoes. Now, tornadoes are kind of not really new here, but we had a really big tornado that affected a lot of people in our mid-communities in Delray and Boca. We also had some tornadoes that were confirmed down in Pompano and Broward County right around the same time and caused a lot of damage. So what we're seeing now, this is a new map that came out by the University of Tennessee. They actually show the old tornado alley, which, we're all accustomed to, Oklahoma and Kansas and all that, with a new tornado alley. And our new tornado alley has Florida in it. And I guess because of climate change and all the things that are happening with higher temperatures and weather patterns and so forth, we are now going to start seeing more and more tornadoes, which like we saw last year. The possibilities are here. They're going to happen. The warnings are going to happen. And I'm going to go through some of that with you so you're prepared. Okay, so first of all, here is the tornado scale. If you're not familiar with it, the Fujita scale. Again, it goes from an EF0 to an EF5. Now, the majority of tornadoes are somewhere between 0, 1, and 2. However, they still produce a pretty significant blow. I think the one in Kings Point was a 2, if I'm not mistaken, and I know the ones down in Broward were a 2. So they can cause a lot of destruction even at that low level, and we have to make sure that we're prepared for that. So here's the scale, just for those of you that are not familiar with our tornado scale. Something new again for Florida that in our area. So here's last year was 64 tornado warnings were issued in Florida. This was even just during Hurricane Ian. So several in Broward and Palm Beach counties. So timing is everything, the National Weather Service says, right? So we have an office in Miami. Our warning coordinator, meteorologist for the National Weather Service is Robert Molita, and he handles the warnings for South Florida, including Palm Beach and Lake Okeechobee. The National Weather Office in Melbourne handles the Treasure Coast. So one of the problems that we're having is the tornado warning alerts, they came too slow, right? So a lot of the people that had some type of system set up already on their phones or whatever, it did not come out quick enough. It did not come out fast enough. And I know a lot of people were only getting them as the tornado already had hit in Kings Point. They're urging everybody to have more than one alert system. So they're urging everyone to have at least 2 or 3 things going on your phone, on your watch, on your internet, on the television, so that you're aware of what's going on. Because just relying on one service is not going to cut it. Because again, this is something relatively newish to down here, and the systems are not, as of now, in a real 100% effective, timely fashion. So they're urging everyone to have more than one way of receiving other weather alerts. And I'm going to actually go through those with you. These are really important. So the first thing you need to do is go to the notifications on your phone. Now, I happen to have an iPhone. I'm not sure what it is for Android, but go to your notifications. And under notifications, if you go all the way down, you'll see government alerts. And you'll see if your Amber alerts are turned on, which this is a copy of mine. So my Amber alerts are on, but that doesn't mean that the weather alerts are on. You have to just continue to go down. Emergency alerts are on. Public safety alerts are on. And then you can test the alerts if you want to. So you have to make sure that all of your alerts are on your phone. Okay, that's your first line of defense for weather alerts, for tornadoes. The next thing to do is in Palm Beach County, discover.pbgov.org. They have something called Alert Palm Beach County, which gives weather alerts. So the first thing you want to do is register on that system. You put your information in, you put your telephone number in, and they will give you alerts. Similar to an Amber Alert, they will give you an alert that comes over your phone. But again, it might be a little bit late, so they're trying to perfect the system, and this is why it's so important to have a couple different systems in place. So that's the Palm Beach County one. Next thing is, my thought was, well, the National Weather Service is in Miami. So my thought is I'm going to sign up for the Miami-Dade alert system because they're going to get it first probably. So I went online and they took my area code. A lot of people were complaining that the area codes, unless they were that particular county, were not being taken, 954 or 305 or something, but they took my 561 number. I registered for the Miami-Dade alert, and it says right on there that the weather alerts are going to include tornadoes. So again, I was all on it. So I went to miamidade.gov, weather alerts, and I registered there, and it took me. So now I've got 3 systems going. I've got my phone, I've got my Palm Beach County, and I've got right to the source, Miami-Dade registered. So again, this is a good tip to have. Okay, so next we're going to do is hurricanes. So this year, these are the named storms. There's several different names: Nigel, Ophelia. Let's hope we don't get to that. So again, these are the new names for this year. As always, interesting ones. Now, last year, a lot of the National Weather Service and so forth did their predictions in October-ish, November-ish. And they were anticipating that it might not be as bad of a hurricane season this year because of El Nino, La Nina. Well, that's kind of changed a little bit. So now we have a brand new weather forecast, just came out in March, and it actually shows that it's going to be probably just the same around average that it was last year. And the reason for this is because the El Nino is not as strong or weak as the La Nina, and they're actually canceling each other's out rather than one taking the dominant to make it lower risk. So it's actually a canceling out, and it's going to go into an average hurricane season. So if you look at this projection for this year, this is 2023, and this was just done in March. Named storms are 14, usually they're 14 to 18, hurricanes 7, 7 to 9, and major hurricanes are 3, 2 to 4, or average. So it's going to be around an average season, not a low season, not a high season, but around an average season. Now, the National Weather Service forecast is going to be coming out in May sometime. They're actually going to start doing their forecast, I think, May 15th. So again, that's coming again soon. But right now, we're kind of back into not a lower than, but an average season coming up. So that's important to know that it has changed a little bit since the initial forecast last year. Okay, the National Weather Service, what's new for 2023? The National Hurricane Center used to give 2-day outlooks, right? In 2023, it will be 7 days out. So they're trying to give us some more forecasting, right? They've really improved the technology. They're putting drones in these hurricanes. They're doing a whole bunch of new things this year, and last year they started. And it's going to give us more updates and longer updates as far as forecasting. Now, some of the other things are that they're going to be removing the word experimental from the peak storm surge forecast. So, as far as how much water could really inundate you, you have to remember that hurricanes are all different, right? They're like snowflakes, they're all different. So, some hurricanes are wind makers, some hurricanes are rain makers and flooding constantly, like Ian, right? With the storm surge, that's another type of hurricane with the storm surge. So, you really have to pay attention to what type of hurricane. And so they're not going to put experimental, they're going to use their forecasting so that you have a better idea of what's kind of flooding could occur and storm surge. They're also using more forecasting to show you where the inundation could actually occur as far as storm surge, right? So they're going to focus more on storm surge. Again, this is after Ian. Storm surge is so important to know where it might hit, how much, and so forth. So that's going to be increased. They also made adjustments actually to the cone. Now, the word was last year that they were going to redo the cone for this year. They did redo the cone in the North Pacific Basin, but they only made a slight tweak to the Atlantic cone, not different. And we're going to get into the cone in a minute. So again, while the cone remains the same in the Atlantic, the size of the track error was reduced slightly for 3 days to 5 for the Pacific. So again, they increased that a little bit. Okay, so the cone of mistakes. Okay, this is really important. The cone of mistakes. Okay, everybody is focused on this cone, and that was actually to the detriment of those people in Ian last year. So the emphasis needs to be, they're preaching and preaching now that the emphasis needs to be on the impacts and the warnings and the other signs that are going around rather than just the storm track and the cone, okay? So think about that for a minute. So, you're sitting here waiting for this hurricane, right? And you're focused on the television and you're watching this cone. Oh, we're out of the cone. We don't have to worry about the cone. We're not in the cone. We're on the only edge on the cone. Meanwhile, they're saying warnings, tornado warnings are here, storm surge warnings are here, flooding is here, flood advisories are here. And everybody's just saying, oh, yeah, but we're not in the cone. Okay, so at some point, it's kind of like when you're sitting in your house and you're looking at your weather and you see the radar and it says, oh, there's no rain clouds here. There's no rain clouds. It says there's no rain clouds. But then you walk outside and it's drizzling or it's raining. Not everything is 100%. Now, the forecasting is a lot more accurate over the ocean. So once it hits land, all bets are off. We have no idea where it's going to go. We can guess, but we have no idea. So again, terrain, winds, storm surge, so much variables. So again, you've got to they want you to get your mind off the cone. And they want you to pay attention to what's going on with everything else around you so that you have a better idea of where it's going to hit and how it's going to affect you. They were really frustrated last year because they have people at all levels of government. They're trained. They know not to just say focus on the cone and to interpret the forecast and how to do it properly. And they said it was shocking to hear leaders ranging from the governor to the head of FEMA being misled by this cone. They're all standing up there talking about the cone. And that is the worst thing you can be doing because it could just one little wiggle and the cone means nothing, right? And we've seen this. I've been here for 22 years. I've seen a little wiggle and a jog, and it doesn't go and follow the cone. So you've got to just really think about what else is going on around you. This is what their focus is on this year again. So they're saying that more research is needed into the cone and people's perceptions of it before it's ditched and before they come up with something new. They have to replace it. They know they have to replace it. But they want to try to figure out how they can get that information to you so that it's not going to just be blinders on and everybody just worried about the cone. So again, whatever shape the graphics ultimately take, something new needs to happen. Scores of people died, and we can only honor them by finding a new paradigm that doesn't result in critical misconceptions by so many of the decision makers, right? So these weren't just lay people or residents that were saying about the cone, which is a whole nother issue. These are the actual leaders of the towns and the governments and the governor and talking about just the cone and our weather people and so forth. So we've got to think outside the box a little bit on that. The Hurricane Center will carefully analyze its forecast and warning process in the coming weeks and hopefully come up with something better. So, this is really interesting. This is the cone of uncertainty. This is again was misread by the governor, the town officials, and the residents. And I know myself, I was on Facebook trying to help a lot of the newbies. We had so many new residents last year. And I kept saying, stop worrying about the cone. It's not just about the cone. And, oh, but we're not in the cone. Again, look at everything else going on around you. So this video is extremely important. And this is exactly of what not to do. So this is where people were watching this video on the television. You can actually see how the cone moved. Originally, they thought for a long time, right when it was offshore, that it was going to Tampa. And at the last minute, it turned. And as we know, it went down by Fort Myers. So in an instant, right, it can wiggle. So again, everyone's watching this cone. And so watch this video and you'll actually see what happened and how quickly things can turn. And that's why it's so important to be prepared. So take a look at this video and I'll get you on the other side. Okay, so I hope you found that as interesting as I did. Again, it's not all about the cone, it's about the area. So, cone of uncertainty, right? So, hurricane, they just came out that Ian was actually a category 5. They've recalculated it and it's come out now when they've looked back at what happened. It was recategorized as a rare 5, 161 mile per hour winds. I think they had over 160, around 160 people, 67 people died in that. And again, we're going to get into that in a minute about why that was so unnecessary and to really think about what's going on. Okay, so first of all, know your risk. Okay, consider the threats that you're going to experience: the storm surge, the flooding, strong winds, the tornadoes now, the rip currents. Okay, the next thing is decide if you live in a flood-prone area. Now, Palm Beach County lost its appeal. I posted this several times in Delray Matters also. Palm Beach County lost its appeal to accept the new FEMA maps. They were fighting it since 2019. They are recommending everybody get flood insurance, regardless of where you are, because the flood maps had been redone and it added over, I think, 6,000 or 8,000 people to the new flood zones that they're not even aware they're in. So again, they're saying, you know what, at this point, even people inland, there's canals, there's lakes, there's storm surge. Everyone should have flood insurance at this point. Second of all, again, these new flood maps are coming. So if you haven't been informed yet, you're probably going to be informed by your mortgage holder shortly. So again, to be safe, everyone should have flood insurance. And you need to know where your evacuation zones are, right? So we're going to go through that in a second. Okay, so when you see a storm, and now they're going to be doing 7-day forecasts out, right? That's new for 2023. You don't just sit around and wait, okay? So you go out and you get your gas, you get your supplies, you cover your windows, you put your shutters on, you figure out what to do with your pets, you get your medicines, your go-to bag, and your insurance statements. You do all the things that you need to do. You help your neighbors. Now, I live on a barrier island. So when evacuation orders are given, we usually evacuate. So we don't go hundreds of miles away. We go to a local hotel that's on the mainland, not on the barrier island, that is storm-proof and made out of concrete and structurally sound, has generators, and that's where we stay. There's no reason to drive hundreds of miles, right? So the best thing to do is to get off the barrier islands, to get off the intercoastal, to go inland. But now, like even last year, we saw with Kings Point and their tornadoes, and I think it was Villa Flora, and again down in Pompano and Broward, that these tornadoes affected inland as the hurricane was crossing over the peninsula. So again, you've got to find a structure that is sound, that is concrete, that is going to withstand as best it can these force winds, these hurricane force winds, and rain, and storm surge, and tornadoes now. So think about this ahead of time. Get your plans in order so that you're prepared. Preparation is everything, okay? Okay, we always, develop an evacuation plan, assemble disaster supplies. We talked about food, water, etc., batteries. Get your insurance checkup. I don't know how many people I talked to. One of them actually was in Kings Point that didn't know that their insurance didn't cover half of the stuff that was wrong or some of the stuff that went bad and when they were caught in their tornado. And this is not even just about people that were in the tornado last year. I mean, look at your insurance. What is on there? Is everything covered? Water damage? Mold? Wind? Are your coverages high enough? So again, do an insurance checkup. Okay, so that's my story for this year as far as hurricanes or tornadoes. If you have any questions or need any help with any of the things I just said, that's why I'm here to help. So I'm trying to be informative. I'm trying to be helpful. Please email me anytime at inthemiddle, BDH, that's Boca Del Rey, Highland Beach. So inthemiddle, BDH, at gmail.com. And I'll be happy to help you as best I can. Answer any questions that you have. Again, things are changing and you've got to keep adapting and keep adapting. So today we're going to have a little bit of fun stuff after such a serious topic. Lots of new things, science and technology, fantastic. Wait until you see this art. It's just incredible. So I'm going to show you this little video. This is going to be the new way to do tows, to get these vehicles onto a tow truck. Very interesting. So watch this and we'll be right back. Okay, next is new things to come in the car again. So I wish I had this when I had my kids, right? So my kids had to watch that little screen on the back of the headrest with their earphones on, and they're watching it. And this is a beautiful movie screen in the back of a car. The touch of a button, this giant movie screen comes down, the blinds go up, the seats recline. Oh, wait till you see this. It's incredible. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
Immerse yourself in the 31-inch, ultra-wide, 8K resolution BMW theater screen. With Amazon Fire TV built in, you can enjoy a wide variety of content. Stream videos, listen to music, get information, all while on the road. Now, let the show begin.
Okay, next is science and technology for a headrest, right? What a great idea. For those of you that go to the gym, for those of you that go to the beach, you always are looking for a place to put your wallet or your keys or your purse or whatever. This is a great idea, perfect for wasted space, and I wanted to share it with you. So enjoy. Okay, now this is really on the science edge here. So this has been popping up in my feed, and I keep wanting to put it on here, and I finally had a chance to. So this is really interesting, right? So we all know about Pangea, and we all know about all the continents at one time were all together and they broke apart. Well, Africa is actually splitting in two. Now, will it happen in our lifetime? Probably not, right? So, but it's just amazing and interesting that the Earth is still moving and changing and manipulating itself. And it's just incredible to see. So watch this video, and now you learned something today.
Africa, the world's second largest continent, is going through a breakup. Scientists say it's splitting into two land masses, with a new ocean one day running through the middle. As reported by IFL Science, the process won't happen overnight. It'll take somewhere between 5 and 10 million years for the East African Rift System, which stretches through multiple countries, to cleave the continent in two, resulting in Africa's eastern shoulder breaking off to become a new island. According to a 2004 study, the Nubian and Somalian African plates are pulling away from each other at a rate of a few millimeters each year. In 2018, news of a crack opening up in Kenya went viral, with some claiming the process was happening before our eyes. However, the rift was likely a localized expression of regular geological activity that has been going on for some 25 million years, IFL Science reports. As with the process which saw Pangea split apart into the continents we know today, the surface of the world is in a constant state of flux.
Okay, so the Port Everglades is actually going green, right? So a lot of the cruise ships usually sit there and idling, whether they're in port for a day or two before they turn their ships over again for the next cruise. They're just idling, and all that exhaust and gas and diesel or whatever they use is just going in the air, right, as pollution. So now what they've done is Port Everglades has actually gone green. So they were actually allowing these huge cruise ships to actually plug in and use the electrical grid at the port rather than having to idle to keep systems going. This is a huge advancement for us, right? As far as being able to take some of that out of the atmosphere. So again, hopefully Miami's going to follow, but this is a great advancement. And I just wanted to make sure all those people going on cruises that you're plugged in Port Everglades. So this is really interesting. So this is blue bananas. Who knew? I thought maybe this is GMO, this is modified, this is not real. They're real. And they're actually in the Philippines, in Fiji, in Southeast Asia. I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget. And they have this taste of vanilla. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like too good to be true. So if you see any blue bananas, they're not bad. They're not modified. They're actually natural and real. So I didn't know how many people knew about that. Now, this is the interesting thing about this iceberg, right? So here's the iceberg turned upside down. What first hit me about this picture was it was absolutely stunning, the colors. So here's penguins on an iceberg that's been flipped upside down, known as a blue iceberg. And although it appears to be a gentle giant when they flip over, although it's an amazing sight to see, they can unleash a deadly power. While this clearly displays the beauty of their stunning underbelly, it also creates tsunamis, earthquakes, and even may swallow adjacent boats. So it's beautiful to look at, but not to go near. So I just love the colors, love the beauty of it, and I just wanted to share it. Okay, and I think this is our last slide. This was a great idea, just, again, something new, something different, something out of the box. What a great thing for the kids at home to have a little slide next to the staircase to have fun doing when you're a kid. So I just wanted to show this. There's a little video. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so here's the artwork I was talking about. I'm going to lead off with this. This person has such immense talent. It's incredible. So I hope you can focus on this. And if you're watching this on your phone, this is one to stop and put it on your smart TV. Go to YouTube channel and put this on your big screen on your comfy couch and watch this because it's amazing. A little creepy, but amazing. So enjoy, and I hope you appreciate it if you're an art enthusiast like I am, as much as I did.
Alice in Wonderland. How do you get to Wonderland? Over the hill or under land, or just behind a tree. When clouds come rolling by, they roll away and leave the sky. Where is the land beyond the eye that people cannot see? Where can it be? Where do stars go? Where is the crescent moon?
Okay, so this came up, and I was like, this took my breath away. An old train station when I was in Paris. Paris I loved. Not only did I see Paris, but we also went out into the countryside and saw Chantilly, and just stunning, stunning. I wasn't aware of this when I was in Paris, and this is kind of tells you a little bit about trying to go off the beaten path and the touristy kind of stuff. If I knew this train station existed, I would have definitely have gone. Just looking at the old grandeur of this station is just immense and incredible. Again, all this craftsman and work is just no longer available usually. We're dying out. So I just wanted to give you a little snippet of it, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so now I saw this, and I know that Boca has it on their strategic plan to be more art friendly and art throughout the city. And I know Del Rey also is trying to be more art inclusive and putting art everywhere. So when I saw this, I said, this is perfect. This is something that we can have local artists do, and it doesn't have to be every light pole, but again, or every around a tree maybe, or something like that, with an iron grate around it. But it's just so beautiful to have something like this, and it can be local pictures or local artwork. So take a look, and hopefully you like it as much as I did.
I'm just being nosy. Can I be nosy?
Sure.
Oh my God.
Doing the final grouting.
How long you been doing that?
Well, I didn't do it all here. I did the detail work in the studio, and but the installation is sometimes it's 2 days. This one's 3 days. Because this one's a super detailed one.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Detail is right. Hopefully they'll leave it beautiful like this forever.
Well, I don't think you can tear this one out as easily as the blue pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm glad you like it.
Down there in Athens, Georgia. What's your name?
Krisha.
Krisha.
So today we're going to leave you again with 2 of my pictures, and I hope you enjoy them. And please, again, subscribers, we need you. We've got 300 now. We're going to 400. We want 400. And please that you like the podcast. Please send me your comments in the middle at bdh@gmail.com. And again, if you have any questions or need help, I hope today's episode was helpful. Please be prepared. Please have all those alerts on everything that I discussed. Please be aware and get your plans going and know where you're going and what you need to do. It's just so important. Preparation is everything when it comes to hurricanes and now tornadoes, unfortunately. So with that, I'm going to leave you. Enjoy my pictures. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Thanks.